The Auto Trader player comparison at the point, Ben Simmons and Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving, of course, as we pointed out during the playoffs last year, unable to go, and Terry Rozier, Scary Terry, came on, did such a great job, but Irving back and ready to go tonight at home against Ben Simmons and the Philadelphia 76ers, and working the sidelines in that game. There you see your RGO, Roz Gold on Woody. What you got, Roz?
Well, I have an update on Gordon Hayward. He's got a minutes restriction of about 25 minutes a game, and that's just for the first 3 to 4 weeks. Coach just told us, not because of that ankle, more just to get him back used to the thumping and the bumping and the wear and tear of an 82-game NBA season. Now, so far, his conditioning is solid. Right now, what he needs more is the rhythm and the timing of the game. Also, the explosion off of that left ankle, he told me before the game, is just not quite there yet. But when you have an injury like that, it's not just the physical, it's the mental, it's the emotional. It's certainly given him a greater sense of urgency on the court. And off of the court, it's given him even more gratitude for his family with his wife, Robin, and his 2 daughters.
Every minute on the floor, you're trying to be relentless, because I know for a fact how quickly it can be taken away, and you don't know when your last minute is going to be up. And so I think for me, being a different player means not taking things for granted, playing every play extremely hard, just having a reignition of some passion. She definitely, especially early on when I didn't feel like doing much, she'd be like, let's go. It's time to move. You got to get up and walk every hour. Here's the medicine you got to take. Stop feeling down on yourself. That's over. We're moving past it, which was good to have somebody like that. At the same time, she was somebody that I could talk to and be a good distraction. And I'm blessed to have 2 little girls too, and so she'd be like, worry about them. Focus on them. They need you. And there are times, I think, when you have an injury like this where you're really thinking about yourself more than anything. And so it was good to have her to kind of put that in perspective. Like, you're still their father, and they didn't really understand what was going on. So it was good that I could kind of turn the negative into a positive and be there for them.
In addition to the time spent with his family, Gordon also worked with a sports psychologist on steps to recovery. And some of those steps included mindfulness of the thoughts and feelings that he was having about what happened to him in a judgment-free zone, that they were valid. Then acceptance, whether he liked it or not, this happened. And then another step, committing to a plan of action. Where do we go from here? Today, he told me the hardest aspect of all of this was the mental side. Guys?
All right, thank you very much, RGO. That's a very young Celtic team running behind her tonight. I was talking to Kevin McHale during the preseason, because we were in here doing a doubleheader, he and Isaiah Thomas and I, and we were talking about Boston and Danny Ainge saying, it's different when you're going into a season, when you're the favorites, can make things more difficult. Kevin McHale said, no, I like that. That's what I wanted. I wanted us to be the favorites going in. He liked that feeling compared to maybe being under the radar. What do you feel about that? If you're Boston right now and you go in as the favorite to win the East.
Yeah, it's different when you're the target or you're chasing the target. It definitely is a different feeling. I think I like chasing the target at times. For me, through a career, I just think that motivated the guys a little bit more that were around me, and even myself, I think. But I think the toughest part for Danny Ainge and Brad Stevens is going to be that 4-game losing streak, because he has 7 guys, 8 guys, honestly, that really deserve a lot of minutes. And in that 4 to 5 game possible losing streak, or you're not playing well, there will be a time where someone won't be playing. And can they keep the same mentality, knowing that they should be on the floor? That, to me, is going to be the most difficult thing, because they're young, and a lot of them haven't proven themselves. They haven't had the all-star status. They don't have the huge contracts yet, and they're making their mark in the NBA.
To me, they're a paper target. The question is, now that LeBron's out of the East, who's going to take over the East? Boston comes up, Philly comes up. They're not really the target yet. Now, they had a great season last year. Can they come back and do the same thing? Can they play better? How are they going to, infiltrate Gordon Hayward? Can they do those things? Now, Kevin McHale says that that's the attitude you want because, a lot of teams, when they play you, they're going to be playing way above their heads. And if you want to get to that next level and win championships, you're going to have to be ready for that night in and night out. But to me, it's still a paper target. The East is still up for grabs as, who's the most dominant team in the East.
Well, let me just say this. First of all, Kevin McHale's full of crap. Listen, if I walked out with Bird and Parrish, I feel pretty good about my damn front running too.
That's why you like that.
I'm like, of course, if I had Bird and McHale, like, we're good, guys. There's 3 elite teams in the Eastern Conference, but they all got question marks. Like Boston,
Who are the 3?
Boston, Philly, and Toronto.
You don't put Milwaukee in there.
Not with those top 3 teams.
Oof.
Because, okay, I'm explain why though.
Okay.
Toronto was the number 1 team. They got better. Agreed. Okay, but
Not that much better. Just a little bit. Cut it out.
no, if Kawhi's a better player than DeMar.
Yeah, but not by far.
Oh no, okay, but if they were number 1 last year, they still in the conversation. But my question would be: is Kawhi gonna play, or he's worried about going to the Lakers? Second, the Sixers. It's all about Markelle Fultz, in my opinion. Ben's gonna be great. Joel's gonna be great. Sarge, Coven. I like Wilson Chandler, but if they don't get play out of Markelle Fultz, they're not going to win.
He's going to start for the first time in his career tonight. It's an interesting thing, Kenny, because Markelle Fultz will start the game. J.J. Redick will start the second half.
Well, that doesn't make sense to me. Honestly, it just doesn't make sense.
I've never seen that before in my life.
Ernie, I want to make one more point.
Because either you're a starter or you're a finisher.
Right.
Yeah.
So you could say this guy's a finisher for me or this guy's a starter. He gets my engine running, but this guy starts and then he starts my engine, but he doesn't start it in the second half. Like, you want to start quarters consistently. That doesn't make any sense.
2 things. Number 1, I think the Sixers are trying to give him confidence.
That's not confidence.
That's not confidence. If you're going to start him, start
I would be mad.
If you're going to start
in
him,
the
start
second
him.
half, I don't start.
No, but you
Because the game on the line.
But I guarantee if he plays well, that will change. I think the reason they're starting him is to build up his confidence.
But what if I get 14 points in the first half?
They're gonna play him more.
But
I'm saying they're trying to build up his confidence. But let me say this one thing about the
Stop me
Celtics.
in a
I
second.
gave you my pet peeves on the first 2. Ernie, they got a lot of talent. And Shaq, they're the paper favorites. But man, when you got guys who want to play, I'm looking at this. I'm saying, listen, Terry Rozier is a free agent. He's not gonna be happy playing 12 minutes a night because he want to get paid next year by somebody. Then you got Tatum and Brown.
Jaylen Brown, yeah.
Listen, and let me tell you something. Those 2 kids are terrific. If you think that they're going to stand around and watch Gordon and Kyrie just play by themselves, you got another thing coming. So I think Brad Stevens has got the hardest, well, other than Luke in L.A., I think Brad Stevens got the second hardest job in the NBA.
Managing
minutes. And Pat Riley has the phrase, voluntary cooperation. And that's what those players going to need in Boston.
When we come back, it's Area 21 on the road. We're going to connect with Kevin Garnett in Los Angeles. In fact, they're 6 kg even as we speak.
You don't have a skull cap on tonight.
There's no hoodie.
Get him, KG.
Hoodie Kevin. There you go.
Came through drippin', came through drippin', came through drippin', diamonds on my wrist, they drippin', ice. Came through drippin', came through drippin'.
Mountain Dew Ice, a clear, refreshing lemon lime dew.
These people, they speak a language we cannot understand.
Deductible?
Definitely speaking insurance.
Additional interest on umbrella policy?
Can you translate?
Damage minimization of civil commotion.
When insurance needs translating, get answers in plain English at progressiveanswers.com.
He wants you to sign Karen's birthday card. It's a high honor.
Hey, Metro PCS is now Metro by T-Mobile. What? Now you get unlimited high-speed data all month long. I'm switching.
Well, that's smart.
I'm also taking that bridge.
The smarter way to get unlimited. Metro by T-Mobile. That's genius. Les Miserables. Experience the musical phenomenon. Les Miserables. October 30th through November 18th at Playhouse Square. Tickets available at playhousesquare.org.
When you've been in business as long as we have, you learn there's nothing sweeter than a scoop and a smile. And since 1969, we've been serving the flavors and faces that make us who we are. The cherry on top, the new Accord. It's built for a focus on our future to help navigate all of life's rocky roads. The 2018 Accord. Sundays are better with a Honda.
Upgrade to the new Accord for just $249 a month. Shop your local Honda dealer or online at northernohiohondadealers.com.
Les Miserables. Experience the musical phenomenon. Les Miserables.
October 30th through November 18th at Playhouse Square. Tickets available at playhousesquare.org.
I'm hoping my guy brings Showtime back to LA.
I hope the Warriors are ready to be tested.
Yeah. Hey, G, about this this Jimmy Butler stuff in your old city of Minnesota and what the effect might be on that team. Number one, is Jimmy Butler right or wrong?
I wouldn't say he's right or wrong. I think Jimmy Butler, first off, is a passionate player. You know, he cares. He plays really hard. You know, everybody that's followed Jimmy's career knows that he started from the bottom, and he's worked his way up. He's built all this great clout for himself. That I think the way he's going about it is a little different, though. You know, I was always one to keep things private. I was always one to to get things done behind closed doors, you know, face to face, being transparent, talking, communicating has always been like the best way for me. I understand what he's trying to do, just the way that he's going about it might be like not so the best way to me. You know, I see Minnesota as a really, really good team too, man. They got a really, really, really good team. They got good pieces, and I think at the end of the day, he's trying to motivate those guys. Those guys need to get in the room, sit, talk, be transparent with one another, and discuss things like teammates, man. But you know, I feel him, I understand him, I know he's passionate, but just the way he's doing it, I'm not feeling that.
You know, Kevin, I was on a television show earlier today, and I said Jimmy Butler can already start packing his clothing because the Minnesota Timberwolves, because they made a decision. They're going with Wiggins. They gave him a max deal. They gave Towns a max deal. They're not going to give Jimmy a max deal. So I think personally they should just go ahead and say, listen, we're moving on. We're going with the young kids. That's the way to do it instead of all this hostility, making it uncomfortable, everybody being around. But that's really what this is about. They're not going to give him a max deal and he's unhappy.
Well, you don't give him up for anything, Chuck. I don't think the Timberwolves are really happy with what's coming back. You know, I talk to whoever I talk to up there, just hearing what's out here, and I'm sure y'all hear the same things, but I don't know if you're going to get, would you trade Jimmy for, like, Jimmy is like an A- player, man. I don't see him as a superstar in our league, but he's definitely a player who can get a bucket, who can stop you. You know, he's definitely going to make your team better. But I don't know if you get something back in return. You know, I don't know if teams going to give that up for him.
Well, you know, Kevin, you started talking about how you did it behind closed doors and he's doing it in front. But it's funny because there's no confusion, I always thought, when you talked about Kevin Garnett. Like, when you talked about him, there's no confusion of what he's thinking. And that you did it that way. To me, there's no confusion what Jimmy's saying. So both of you guys have kind of did it the same way, but differently. Like, there's no confusion that he doesn't want to be there at that time or be there in that way. And you, at times, I remember having that role of saying, man, do I continue my career here or do I allow myself to go to Boston?
I totally understand him. I totally get it. And he's dealing with Glenn, who doesn't know shit about basketball.
Glenn Taylor.
Great. Yeah, probably.
Well, I think we wasn't concerned about the Taylor part.
I know. He's gonna make money, but he don't know anything about basketball. I wouldn't say that he's the best basketball mind, but you know, I think Jimmy. I thought this is about being better. Maybe it's when you read between the lines about an extension, but I do know that you don't have too many years to do this. You know, we probably got 3 to 4 years of good years in him to where you know. He can start this. You know, when you go to new teams, you know that's all about chemistry and how you bonding with guys. So you know this whole thing, man, should just be to the side. I wish they just focus on winning and trying to get this thing under control. It's a really
a rat storm up there, man. I hope they just really sit down in the room and get this done and focus on basketball, man. They're a really good team.